you believe with our big fellow? Let's start with this one. D-Wood, would you believe this is finally the year Josh Allen leads Buffalo to a Super Bowl?
I would not believe it. I would not believe it. Listen, you would think everything this year is set up for Buffalo. The fact that they travel the least among any team in the National Football League this year, I think their team they're ready, they're there. But he hasn't been to climb Mount Mahomes. So until I see it, what's Missouri, the show me state?
Yes.
Show me first before I believe in it.
That's right. He went to Wyoming, but you're bringing up Missouri.
That's right. That's right, I am.
Needs to show you.
Show me.
Bart Scott, is this the year? Is this finally the year for Josh Allen?
First of all, they need to make sure that James Cook is happy because, that's really not being reported on. But, it's so many other obstacles in his way. Joe Burrow can get his team to the postseason. But also Lamar Jackson. Remember last year, Zay Flowers got hurt, and that changed the dynamic of the playoffs. Bateman has stepped up, Likely's there. Can King Henry put up that same performance? So I'm going to say no, the field is too strong. If I had to pick, I'll pick the field.
Field's strong in part because of this team. I mean, they've been too good for too long to think that they're never, ever going to get over that hump. Plus, they play the Chiefs in the regular season every year, and they always beat them. So it's not like they can't do it. They haven't been able to do it in the postseason. I'm optimistic. I think this is a well-run organization that is not, they're not doing that thing, right? They're like, oh, we're going to stretch and make some move to get us over the hump. They're re-signing the guys in their core. They're building it and keeping it the right way. I think one of these years it gets rewarded.
Show me.
I can say the same thing about
their season did end in Missouri.
You can say the same thing about Baltimore.
Yeah.
Say the same thing about Baltimore.
You can, absolutely. There's no question. I feel the same way about it.
They're in the same situation, except that the Ravens organization has won championships, and the Bills have been so achingly, painfully close so many times and been unable to do it. I actually do think this is, it's not versus the field, but as far as who I would pick right now, I do think this is Buffalo's year. All right, D-Wood, the next one. Would you believe if I said someone other than Kansas City would win the AFC West? Because it's been almost a decade since anyone else has.
Man, I struggled with this one, but I'm going to say I would not. I do think Kansas City has gotten better. Particularly, I think the offensive line would be better this year. But let me tell you something. Denver's here. Denver's here. Listen, Denver is they're going to cause hell this year. I think their defense is going to be even better than what it was last year. Second year with Bo Nix and Sean Payton. The Los Angeles Chargers is going to be better. And oh, by the way, Pete Carroll is now the head coach with the Las Vegas Raiders. So it's going to be tough in that AFC West.
Dan, if I said to you, I believe that's the best division in football. Going in, I would predict this will be the best division in the NFL.
I think, yes. They had 3 teams in the playoffs last year, 2 of which were probably ahead of schedule in Denver and the Chargers. And I think those are teams that have gotten better. And they're coached by, championship coaches. Jim Harbaugh is a college national champion. Obviously, Sean Payton has won the Super Bowl. And to D-Wood's point, Pete Carroll, I mean, that Raiders team is going to be, it's not going to underachieve.
No.
Right? Like, I don't know how good they are roster-wise, but no, I think that's the toughest division.
I believe that, when you look at the field, I think that it's not a fear factor there, right? Because you believe that, hey, my coach is just as savvy as that coach. When you talk about that division, you have 4 Hall of Fame coaches that have had success at some level. I believe that the field, it used to be that playing in that division, Kansas City had 3 homecoming games.
Right.
So now they're going to have to to go and be battle tested to get through the regular season.
Remember, in Kansas City, Denver had them beat. It was the block, right? Like they're right there. I don't know. Denver's going to be a pretty good team.
Our minds are synced. I was thinking of exactly the same thing. The Broncos know they can beat them too. I think that the Chiefs remain the best team, but that division is so good. No bye weeks, as you said. So maybe the 1 seed. Oh, if they win without that anyway. All right, D-Wood, let's go to the one near and dear to my heart. Would you believe Justin Fields is going to lead the Jets back to the playoffs?
I would not, Greeny. Listen, I think the Jets are going to be better than what the Vegas win total is. I believe it's like 5.5. Listen, I think here's what the Jets need to do with Justin Fields. They need to break the record. Whatever the Jets franchise record is for rushing attempts, they need to break it. They play like lean all the way into it, because honestly, that is the strength of the Jets team. Offensive line, quarterback that's very athletic. They got weapons. Lean into that. This team could be sneaky towards the end of the year.
I believe that this team is maybe an 8-win season. That's a victory. I believe they've missed a huge opportunity. I mean, because they need something better than Justin Fields. I feel like at this point we know who Justin Fields is, and this is probably his last opportunity, which is why I was surprised that with 2 4th-round draft picks, they passed on Shadur Sanders because at some point they have to pay this young core. You hear that they're in discussions with Garrett Wilson and Sauce, but those aren't just the two young players that they should build around. Jermaine Johnson, Vera Tucker. You're going to have to eventually pay the other young pass rusher. So, please do not let Breece Hall go. I know they can say run by committee. Listen, he is special. He's maybe one of the top 5 all-around running backs in football, in my opinion.
What do they?
So many teams approach quarterback the same way this offseason, which is there aren't a lot of great options out here. So the Jets, they have one they like in Justin Fields. They give him this year to see what he can do, and then maybe you address it. If he's not the guy, maybe you address it next offseason. They are not alone in that approach this offseason, and it's possible Justin Fields, still young, has more to give than what we've seen. So, yeah, to D-Wood's point, I expect them to you have 2 dynamic running backs, a dynamic running quarterback. I think we have a sense of how the Jets are going to operate on offense.
Just as an aside, I was just thinking about this. The last time the Jets played in a playoff game, my son Stephen was 8. Yesterday, he graduated from college. It has been a very, very long time. Let's get something. Jeremy Fowler reporting yesterday the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson have resumed contract talks after he accounted for 49% of his team's sacks last season. So let's dive in. If I said the Bengals defense is going to be even worse this year, is that an overreaction?
It is. First of all, that would be difficult to be worse than they were last year on defense. But second of all, look, Hendrickson is still there. I know the contract isn't done, but he hasn't been traded. I think that ultimately gets worked out. There's some young guys they're counting on coming along. They're getting a couple guys back from injury and a new coordinator and a new scheme, which sometimes helps you bounce a little bit. So yes, I think the Bengals defense will be better.
Let me go to an offense that I'm interested in. If I said Daniel Jones is going to start every game for the Colts this season, is that an overreaction?
It is an overreaction. Look, the Anthony Richardson injury opens the door for Daniel Jones to take this job and run with it. But Daniel Jones played in the league 6 years. He's missed games due to injury in at least 4 of them. And I think, Anthony Richardson, if he can get healthy, might have an opportunity to take this job back. And if not, I think the Colts may need to go and add someone else just to protect against 2 guys that have injury history.
Bart doesn't even need to speak. He just responds. His entire reaction, his facial let me do 2 seconds on this one stick. Daniel Jones, you're all in on Daniel.
Yeah, I think Danny Dimes can end up having a Sam Darnold type of year and bounce back. He's never been in an environment. The environment matters. He's never had a running back like Taylor. Well, he had Saquon, but they didn't have an offensive line. He had 2 outstanding number 1 receivers on outside.
Is Danny Dimes the next Sam Darnold? Super quick.
I don't know if, like, Minnesota, like we compare Indy to Minnesota, that's a tall task.
Who's the Justin Jefferson?
You got to figure that part out. All right, one more. Let's get to the last one because this is the interesting one. If I said Aaron Rodgers makes the Steelers instant contenders, is that overreaction?
Yes. He didn't make the Jets instant contenders, not to bring up a sore subject, but yes, it's an overreaction. He's 41, going to be 42 by the end of the year, and this is not a team that was like plug-in quarterback and now you have a contender. They have question marks on the offensive line. They have one receiver who's averaged 73 catches a year in his NFL career. They have a defense that's average age is like 28, 29, probably one of the older defenses in the league. By the way, they're having the exact same problem right now with T.J. Watt that the Bengals are having with Trey Hendrickson, and nobody's getting on their case about it. I think Pittsburgh could be in for a rough one.